First, congrats. Your career continues to stand the test of time, and we're to a point where basically everyone that's ahead of Fred Taylor on the all-time rushing list is in the Hall.
Yep.
And ultimately, that's going to fall in line. Like not if, but when. But nonetheless, you probably always exhale a little when you make that next step. No.
Guys. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Man. Good to see you guys. Fresh off a 5-hour flight. We'll talk about that in a minute.
Oh boy.
Hey, look, I'm on time. I am. If this was Coughlin time, I'm safe. I'm good. I showed up. That's what it's all about. But yeah, guys, I try not to look at it, but then when it happens, I'm like, all right, cool, as it should be. I mean, at least, semis. Obviously, the finals change. It doesn't matter if you made it to the finals the previous year or what have you. That can all change. I've seen where guys were finalists, and then the next year, barely a semifinalist, all that stuff. So I don't get overly excited. I thank God and I keep pushing.
Well, Fred, I got a question for you because you're very active, right? You have other, obviously with the pivot and the work you do here, you talk to guys, present, former players. What feel do you get? I mean, I'm sure it comes up. No, I mean, does it? What does Ryan Clark think? Does he think Fred Taylor's a Hall of Famer? What, you know what I mean?
Without a doubt.
Yeah, that ultimately wins out.
Even Swagoo, Marcus Spears, shout out Big Swag. On his podcast, and I forgot to run and find the episode, but he tweeted it out. He's like, we're going to talk about why Fred Taylor belongs in the Hall of Fame. But even more than that, you got guys, the guys that played against Ray Lewis and Randy Moss, they were having a conversation during their induction year. And they say, hey, Fred Taylor is definitely a Hall of Famer. When you talk about the Charles Woodsons of the world, Derrick Brooks, Warren Sapp, even John Lynch, these are defensive guys, Troy Polamalu, guys that I actually played against that say, oh, yeah, we game plan for Taylor. Like, if we stopped Taylor, we were going to certainly stop the Jaguars. It was never any other player. And Tony Dungy, these other coaches, Jeff Fisher. So it's out there. It's in circulation. But at the end of the day, none of those guys have a vote. They don't have any vote. We don't know the selection criteria. Either you're first ballot or you have to sort of wait out the process like myself.
Yeah. I think most of us are in the mode of it's going to happen. It's just a question of when, but shoot, the sooner the better. I'd like nothing better than for you and even Tom to be up there together this year. It would be awesome. So
that would be one of the absolute best scenarios. Mm-hmm. I mean, I as I've mentioned before, and I told Coach Coughlin.
Yeah, you told us this.
If it had to be between he and I would expect that I would give him the honor, and he deserves it. And hopefully they feel the same way about it.
And so do you. So. Bye week time. What does a football player do during the bye week once they break out of there a little bit?
You watch the Gators make 2 upsets.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Now we're talking
That's what
Gators.
I went to the swamp. You're darn right I did.
Hey, back in the day, these weren't called upsets at all. But hey, man, this team is resilient. They found a way to respond to Coach Napier. He's found a way to respond to his players to get the most out of him. That young man, Lagway, DJ is, he's certainly going to be one of those guys to look out for as he continues to grow in his progression at the position. So, but that defense is biting. Mm-hmm. Like, that defense been biting back-to-back weeks, and they're doing the necessary thing it takes to win. And, just to kind of segue into the question you originally asked, doing the necessary things to win during your bye week as a player. You want to sort of decompress, but not get away from it too much.
Right.
You want to actively recover, your massage, your chiropractic, your hot and cold compression, the recovery techniques that you have, paying attention to your nutrition. So it's just that you're not playing a game. You're still watching the game. Some guys completely unplug. I was never one of those guys. But I would leave town just to kind of smell air other places, mm-hmm. And that would be my reset. But then I would come back in, 2 days, and I'm all in, So typically that's the guys are recovering. You know, if you had some sort of injury, this team won't let you go anywhere. You have mandatory scheduled rehab. So all sorts of stuff can happen.
Listen, you described perfectly just your average, typical, ordinary, bye-week experience. But here's a team that just lost 52-6, Fred. It's a team that is perfectly aware of all of the speculation around their coach and their GM and everything else. So it's a little bit more of a minefield. Talk to me about first the professional pride you feel and how much that gets dinged when you lose 52-6, or does every loss count the same?
I mean, you want to say a loss is a loss, but let's be realistic.
Yeah.
That stinks. Like, to be, to understand what's going to come from the media, what's going to come from your friends, from your family. I didn't play in a social media era. Like, you cannot open up your Instagram or Twitter without seeing, that debacle. Like, it's going to be somewhere, and it's going to always remind them. Like, yeah, when we lost to Minnesota, they put up the 50-pointer or whatever, and they beat us pretty bad. That stunk, and it was no social media in sight. And that felt bad. I even had to deal with the media, our local media after the game during the week. It's always a stain. So these guys, they're feeling it. I think 1-point losses are more devastating than blowouts. Mm-hmm. Blowouts are more embarrassing, but 1 point, that just sends a jolt throughout your body because your competitive nature is gonna always make you feel like, man, I had it. Just like your golf swing. If you get that shank, you're like, all right, man, I should have had that, and you keep going back. I was thinking, man, I was not a part of a team that actually I was. I must have lost my mind for a moment. They did fire Coach Coughlin, but it was after the season.
Right.
It wasn't in the middle of the season.
Like you're not dealing with that during the year.
I was thinking about Coach Dabo. I think about Dave when I just saw that the Giants fired the coach and the GM up there.
Yeah.
So both New York teams.
Freddie, I was thinking about this, and I want to get your opinion. I know how you feel about it, but I was looking at the stats this morning, and I look at Saquon, who had I like to call it like a Pittsburgh Steeler night that you had many years ago. But last night, 255, impressive. But he's got 1392. Derrick Henry's got 1185. Josh Jacobs got 944. Now, we're 11 games in, guys. Jahmyr Gibbs, 886. Hubbard's got 876. Williams with the Rams got 822. And Tony Pollard, Tennessee's got 800. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys at 800 yards rushing. Then I flipped over to the receiving. And Jamar's over 1,000. He's the only one. Jetta's at 939, CeeDee Lamb's at 841, and Terry McLaurin's at 823, and that's it. That's 800 and up. That's only 4 guys. I'm telling you, the running backs are back, Freddie. It's time to get that cash.
The running backs ain't back till they cut the check. They're not cutting the check. But the position in terms of productivity, these guys have been doing this. Like Derrick Henry's been up there, Josh Jacobs. Like these guys have been consistent. When Saquon's healthy, you see what he's doing now. That's what he's always been able to do. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't even know the math on that per carry.
He's 6
I just know it's ridiculous.
Yeah. On the year now, he's like over 6.3 or something.
And I think that the evolution of the game with the rules changes, and people like to say, well, it's a passing league. Yeah, but you still need a running back. Look at what these guys are averaging per carry, on the annual basis. A lot of backs are over 5 yards to carry, and this has been this way since the collective bargaining agreement in 2011. So it's been 13 years, and these guys are still running the ball efficiently and effectively for their ball clubs. It's just that there is this negative connotation or this negative mindset that travels with these franchises. Mm-hmm. Once one do it, then the other one's going to do it and follow. Then they're going to develop this system, and this system is going to exclude a certain position from the same annualized growth as the other positions have seen over the course of the last, almost decade and a half. So,
well, McCaffrey and Barkley, to a degree, got paid up that bottom rate for the backs a little bit.
Paid.
Yeah,
Saquon didn't get.
What did he get? 9?
McCaffrey type money.
Yeah. No, I know he didn't. Yeah,
he got what he what the Giants wouldn't give him. And he every time you look up, they just look stupider.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh gosh.
So,
He earns $13.5 million this season via signing bonus, workout bonus, and base salary.
but it's all about 10 on average, right?
Yeah,
Something
correct.
like
Yeah, that's what I
Correct.
thought, 9 or 10. What's McCaffrey? More like 16?
I'm a big Saquon
Yeah.
fan, man.
Boy,
Yeah,
he's-
how can you not be?
Saquon.
How can you not be? How can you not
boy.
be?
Yeah.
Now, Fred, wait a second. Did you just say, because I don't see anything here, are you assuming that Dayball and Schoen got
No, I think he means Sal on one side and the GM
okay.
on the other side.
Oh, okay.
See what I'm saying?
Okay.
Both
Okay.
New
I just
York-
wanted to.
Both New York teams
You know
have.
what? Like I said, maybe it was a dream. I thought I saw a notification on my phone.
Well, that.
man.
Oh, I don't know. I haven't seen that
I
yet.
was
this
on
morning.
I was on a flight. I don't know if someone tweeted it, so I apologize.
You might have some inside information, is what I'm suggesting.
He's got. I just assume he meant both New York. There's a New York coach that's been let go and a New York GM that's been let go,
Yeah.
and it's But I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
on
Now,
tape.
tell us about the flight.
By the way,
I want to know about the flight.
It just could be a premonition because he is going to get fired.
Yeah.
You got that part right.
Yeah.
It just
But I like that.
I do too. I think he's a good coach.
Man.
Yeah, I like him.
Man, I like him. So
Yeah,
much.
I do too.
So
I think-
much is going on up there.
He could be a
Yes.
good, he could be one of those dudes. Give him a second job and really, make the first team
He
wonder.
has never had a chance.
Yeah,
And
this team's terrible.
And they
He
got
never
rid
had
of.
a
They
quarterback.
got rid of. I mean,
Yeah.
what he did.
Yeah.
The GM, I get.
And he
The
took him,
GM
and he did take him to the playoffs with Daniel Jones year one. Don't forget.
Yeah. Probably the worst thing.
They
to
won a
happen to him.
game. They beat Minnesota, didn't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, they sure did.
All right. What about the flight?
What about
we
the
got?
flight?
Yeah, no, it was just a long haul. I flew to California yesterday. We sat down with Gilbert Arenas. It was an amazing show for the pod, and then we also sat down with Sterling K. Brown from This Is Us,
Yeah.
Black Panther.
Oh, yeah.
So just two great shows. Took a red eye back tonight. Slept about an hour. I can't sleep on airplanes. I don't know if you guys
Me either.
can.
I
hate
can't
it.
either, no.
I hate it.
I can't sleep on airplanes no matter what. But yeah, it's just a 5-hour flight, man. Hopped out in Miami and I hit up ET like, yo, we doing the show or am I on the bye week?
ET put the screws to you. Said you're in.
We locked in.
I wouldn't have missed it for anything,
Man,
I
well-
might would have had to change the time a little bit. You got I love it.
I'll give you a
Yeah,
good.
man,
Hey, Freddie, I'll give you a good movie you'll enjoy if you haven't seen it already. But it's that Sterling K. Brown is in it. But that American Fiction, have you seen that one? Have you seen that one?
Not, but I am
Check
on
it out. I'm telling you, you'll like it.
I am on
Yeah.
it. And he has a new series coming up on Hulu, Paradise.
Yep, I saw that too.
Paradise on Hulu, which is going to be pretty nice. He's a security guard. Someone killed the president on his clock, and they're trying to figure out who it was. So it's a drama, suspense.
Well, get
So,
get some rest, my man, and we'll catch up with you next week.
Thank you, Fred.
Who needs rest? I think that's Saquon.
Thank you,
All right,
buddy.
there
All
he
right,
goes.
guys.
All right.
I got to send this, and as we go to break, I'll say there are 15 Hall of Fame eligible players in NFL history with at least 11,500 rushing yards.
Yeah.
Every single player is in the Hall of Fame except Fred.
Yeah.
I mean, at some
No
point
brainer.
here, you just got to say, we can't. There's no way we can dodge this. This doesn't make any sense. Do it sooner rather than later.
That would be nice.
This is the drill.